Hi everyone. I'm just been cleaning up my desk and looking at these last lot of scraps. Let me just show you what I've done. I had a scrap on the desk of ordinary brown cloth. I'm not going to show any of it. I found this strip of linen. I thought, wouldn't that make a nice edge on the top, nice and crisp? So I'm going to pop that on the top. Some things I'm going to have over it, some things under. Just pretty simple. Now I wanted to discuss different ways of doing things, so and this one I promised to try and be a bit tidier. But what I was thinking was, you know, if you don't sew at all, you could just put some of that iron-on webbing, the glue that I've shown you before in the sheet form, and you could just iron it on and it's done. Or, you know, things like that. If you've got a sewing machine, then you could just sew a nice little neat pocket, turn it under lots of things. Whilst I was cleaning up my desk, I saw all kinds of bits and pieces destined for the bin, and I put them on in a packet, and that'll be a future project. They look quite good. I'll think of something to do with them. So, even the smallest bits can be useful. So here's the last jar, and I'm going to stick with these pieces here. I know a lot of people don't like torn edges, and if you don't, then you would just turn an edge under like that and sew through it like that. Now you've got to remember that this much is going to be cut off. It's only this big, you know, so don't have your best bits there. Right, and like I said, the iron-on stuff would be excellent. I think this time I'll just pop a couple of pins in because I haven't been doing things very properly to show you. And that one there, that was the one where I'd used a stamp with stays on ink pad, and that's quite good if you want a bit of writing on your fabric. That's a good way to do it. Right, so a little bit of thread would be good. I'm going to keep it pretty light coloured, like a country kind of look on this one. Isn't that pretty? Divides into 3. And I've got one nice thread there. That's pretty subtle, really. Okay. If I wanted a perfectly straight line, then I would use one of these, and it's a disappearing pen, and you can, it'll disappear on its own, but also it will disappear with water. Spritz it with water when you've finished. Let's see if drawing a line actually helps me be a bit tidier. That would be nice. Okay, now I'm going to go up here, and I shall attempt to go on that line in lovely little neat even stitches, just to prove that I can, should I want to. Oh dear, better rush. See how that purple line is disappearing on me? That looks quite nice and quite straight. Now I had enough left to just go back here, and that managed to hold this piece on and this piece, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I'll take it like that, and I'll just take it through here and do a couple of stitches to end off. There we are. That's a great start. Now I purposely chose the white because if you look at the other two, they had elements of it, but really they're quite colourful. One's more organic, one's more tribal with tassels and colour. So if you just look at that, and then this one is much paler, and it's a cottagey kind of look, but look at it, they all go together. I think they'll be great together. That's what I wanted to say. Alright, a little bit more stitching, I think. I'm thinking if I did another straight line, it'd pretty well get everything in, wouldn't it? So I might do that next. And that's why I really love variegated threads. Such a subtle use of colour. Let's see how this one was green at that end. I'm more reddish at that end. Maybe I can do the opposite here. I don't know. I want that selvage edge of that old fabric. That's a vintage one, that one. To go underneath, so. Or, because I was saying that we can do this, we can just turn it under. Like that if we wanted it to be tidy. I can only do so much tidiness. I am not naturally tidy. I think creative living, playing with things means making a big mess sometimes. Allow yourself to do that. And that's gotten all of our pieces held down enough so that we can get rid of all the pins. Alright, so let's see what else we can pop in there. I want this one to stay fresh and simple. I'm thinking I might get something, maybe even white. Look at that one. This is the one I'm reusing. See how it's all crinkly, but I liked it, so we might do a little bit of decorative stitching. And I'm going to do a chain. Needle comes up, you hold this thread out the way, and you go under and bring it up inside this loop. So when you pull it, there, it does that. That's quite pretty. And then you just take it to where you put it down again to anchor it, that little tiny stitch there, and then you start wherever else you may want it. Well, I'm thinking a little flower, or half a flower even. See how I'm going around in a little circle. Do a full flower. Well, I think I might just do a few partial ones. Working my way down there to hold that on, you see. That's my thought. That looks quite subtle. I like that. It's like lace or something on top of it. But it's holding it down nicely. It's given us another detail. Let's have a look at it when it's wrapped around our little bottle. Are we liking it so far? Yes, I think so. I have to decide how I'm fixing this one. I like to do them all differently so that we have different ideas flowing. But let's finish the decorating first. I'm thinking some nice pearly buttons would be nice on here. See how I'm keeping it very light and fresh, this one. It's very citrusy, I think. So whilst I'm sewing on a couple of buttons, I also pick out a nice vibrant lemon yellow just to bring in a little touch. And I use the cream, mainly just those two colours. And that vice variegated one. But I running stitch through the little patches just to make sure that they're all held down. And then I decide with this lemon to finish up doing some nice little French knots. We'll have a look at that next. A few decorative stitches really do add something special. Here's my lemon thread. It's a stranded cotton and I'm separating out 2 or 3 strands. Needle up from underneath, wrap the thread around your needle a few times and back in again. And you end up with a nice little French knot, see? I've done a little spray going across. And it just added a little touch of yellow and looks quite pretty. I try it here again around my glass jar, just holding it and looking at how I might finish it off. I'm liking the top as it is, but the bottom, well, I'm going to start with just attaching here as it wraps around. Fold that little edge under and do a couple of stitches there to hold that, and then sort of lace it up down the edge and bring it all together. I use a pin to hold it whilst I'm getting sorted. I'll make it nice and tight so that it takes out some of the wrinkles and grips that glass nicely. If you use the right glue, you could just glue it down. But it'd have to be a glue that can handle glass and fabric. Here I've decided I've cut that back a little bit, that bottom edge. Then I'm just going to use a needle and thread, and I'm just going to do big loopy stitches like a running stitch all the way around, and just see if I can pull it in a little bit. So just in and out all the way around, and then pull it in like that. And then whilst it's pulled in, give it a couple of stitches to knot it off and hold it like that. I'm going to try some felt on the bottom. I'm going to cover that where we've turned it under. I'm just using the bottom of a glass jar to use my pen and then cut out a circle. So we could do that. That's a bit big at the moment. But I'm looking at it and thinking, well, the glass is quite concave on the bottom. I don't know whether I want it like that or I want a more solid bottom. Plenty of glues are going to work for fabric and paper together. I'm just using a white wood glue, but you could also use a hot glue gun or whatever glue that you have is going to do the job. I'll put it aside with a weight on it for now and see if that works. But I'm wanting to do something with this little lid. I'm going to cut out a piece of cardboard, the same sort of size I think that's going to go on the top of that bit there. And I'm going to see what it looks like if I cover it like a button, you know, the old-fashioned buttons that you used to cover yourself. But it's a bit solid on the edges, so I've decided I'm going to put a little circle of felt and then a little piece of wool roving I'm using, or wadding or whatever, cotton ball, something that's stuffing-ish, to give it a little bit of more body, a little bit of softness. So before I start on it, I'm just going to grab this piece of material and I am stitching on a button just so it's got something on the top. You could do a bit of embroidery or many things, but I'm just doing something simple to finish this one off. Then I'm going to layer up, here we go, the cardboard, the felt, the bit of stuffing, so that when it goes over it creates a cushioned kind of top. And I'm going to do the same thing here with the running stitch all the way around and then pull it tight to pull it all to the center and give us a nice round shape. Once I pulled it in like this, I can just then do a few stitches from one side to the other and pull it nice and tight. See? Just like spokes on the wheel, just around from one side to the other in different directions. And then I'll anchor it by doing a couple of stitches and snipping my thread, and you see what we get, something like that. Now because it's out, I'm going to attempt this glue. I don't think it's going to be terribly successful. Like I say, you would need one that's a better glass glue, but well, just to show you how you would do it, that's it. Then just to finish off, I'm going to tie a little ribbon around this and tie a nice little bow, and you could add in a nice tag if you wanted that would tell you what was in it if you were giving it to somebody, maybe with something, some fudge or something you've made in it, or jam. There, it looks quite pretty and it fits in with my others, and it's been an interesting little series to do. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've explored some different ways we could do it, and there's plenty more. But I think I've had enough of little jars for the moment, and I'll go on to something else next. I just wanted to thank you again for watching. If you've liked it, don't forget to press like and subscribe if you would like to see more interesting things we can make. And I'll see you next time. Thanks again.